Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second webinar in the series from PrintWeek and HP. The role of print is changing, and this change is driven by the impact of the internet and mobile connectivity and Generation Z. The question everyone is asking is, has Printland painted itself into a corner by allowing print creativity to be seen as some magic fairy dust, sprinkled on after serious thinking has taken place? In today's session, our print pundits will urge the print agencies to wake up and challenge clients' perceptions. As an industry, have we become over-obsessed with spreadsheets? Personally, I believe that Printland needs to promote creativity more aggressively. Our industry should be a major rival to consultancy firms like McKinsey and Deloitte, as well as the tech giants like Apple and Facebook, and offer creative problem solving applied to a wide gamut of business problems. This is what the next 60 minutes are about. To trigger your brain cells, first some data crunching. According to Smithers Spira, the global print market is shrinking in volume, but is growing in value over the period 2014 to 2024. In 2014, the output measured in billions of A4 prints or equivalents was 49,973 and is forecast to decline very slightly to 49,654 by 2024. However, in terms of value, the print output grows from a total of $767 billion in 2014 to $862 billion in 2024, a CAGR of 1.18%. COVID has had an impact on the print industry. It has changed the print demand scenario, which in days to come will see a major restructuring. According to a PrintWeek survey, the survey data revealed that 1 in 5 print companies will shut shop. Many print firms across India will not be able to cope with the changing print demand scenario. Grim stuff. It's a simple insight one heard from Rahul Kumar at PrintWeek. So many problems in the print industry are caused not because of a lack of intelligence, but because a lot of intelligent people are all looking at the wrong things. Let me explain what Rahul meant. The overemphasis of marketing and marcoms, has it been a disaster for Printland? Properly defined, marketing involves a whole gamut of different business skills like new product development or pricing, but it gets associated with marcoms simply because that's the most expensive part. That way, that was okay if you were a Unilever or a P&G, when most of your board will have a marketing background. But if you look at ad spend now, print goods are less than 20% of overall spend. With packaging goods, it may be a bit more. Today, marketing and marcom departments prefer to spend on mobile phone networks, comparison websites, broadband providers, etc. And so, marcom spending is much lower proportion of their outgoings. This has led to marketing being downgraded to an ancillary function rather than a strategic function. How do we incentivize print once again? And more importantly, how do we get rid of the wrong mindset? Today's webinar will focus on opportunities and how to maximize the potential for commercial printers. The webinar will reveal how we can help clients grow into realms they never formally anticipated. To share his insights on the topic, we have with us Dr. Sean Smith, a print consultant with Smithers Pyra. We'll also be joined by the HP team, Ashok Pava, Business Manager Commercial, HP Indigo, India and Sri Lanka, along with Gaurav Chadda, Commercial Category Manager, HP Indigo, APAC and Japan, and Chulsan Shim, who's a Regional Commercial Category Manager for APAC and Japan again. They will also, who will showcase how HP Indigo presses can become that vital cog in your company's transformation. Let me first welcome Dr. Smith to take over.
Sriram, thank you so much. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, we are able to see your screen.
Thank you. That's helped me enormously. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Sean Smith. I'm based in the UK. I work for Smithers. And as Sriram has just said, we spend a lot of time looking at printing markets and seeing how they're likely to develop and perform in future. And I'm going to spend the next 25 or 30 minutes talking about our view on specifically commercial print in the Indian market, post, at least we hope it's post, the disruptions that we've all suffered last year with the global pandemic. I'm going to show you some of the latest Smithers forecasts, slightly updating some of the numbers that Sriram has just provided for you, looking at the global market, but focusing on India in particular, because I think India is an interesting printing market. It's one of the largest ones in the world, and it's one of the most fast growing and rapidly changing in the world. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the changing nature of printing in the post-COVID era. We're seeing generally an analog to digital transformation in the world. Printing is part of that. And for print businesses to be profitable, vibrant, and build a future, you cannot ignore this trend. It's a major technology trend. If we continue to try and do the same analog things, and that's not just analog printing, it's the analog business process that we have done before, you are going to get left behind. There's the tech giants, the Apple, Google, but most of all importance, the consumers who ultimately consume and buy print. If they don't feel it's relevant, then the industry has a poor future. My view is that if we change, we can make print more relevant, find new niches and new opportunities. I'll talk about some of the drivers and the trends that we as a global consultancy see in India particularly, and discuss a little bit about using new technology to find profitable niches. HP and PrintWeek India invited me to do this, so I'll be focusing on the markets of commercial printing, and particularly how that's changing with digital printing. A little bit about Smithers, for those of you who don't know us. We're headquartered in the United States. We have offices in the US, in Europe, in China. And what we do is we look at the overall print and packaging supply chains across printing, across paper, packaging, food contact, and we generate a number of market reports every year. We offer specific consultancy. In normal years, when COVID isn't a problem, we run some major events looking at the development of printing and some of the ancillary markets in different areas. And as well as that, we also offer a testing service. The part I'm involved in is Smithers Information, and we deliver high-value market and technical research, helping companies make better decisions more quickly. My background is I'm a print techie. I've been in the industry in the UK and in multinational companies for more than 40 years now, which I find very surprising. But I'm acting as a Smithers analyst and consultant today. And I've written various of their reports, and I contribute to the trade press. I act as a journalist. But as well as that, in my career, I've owned commercial printing companies. I understand how printing companies operate, what they need to do to prosper, and what they need to do to build secure futures. The reason my hair color is as it is back in the 1990s, I was involved in the first digital printing machines, and I went through the learning curve. And if you haven't gone through that learning curve, it's an interesting one, and you need to sort of get the help of your suppliers, HP, potentially, to support you, because it's a different business process. My very simple thing is I help companies across the print supply chain make money through the appropriate use of technology and exploring new markets. So that's me. So to get into the presentation, I'm going to share some of the print data. Now, people talk about the value of a market, the size of a market. You need to understand exactly what they are talking about when they define the market. I am going to be talking about the value of printing output produced by print service providers. There may be some implants in there. It's print and it's printed packaging in the overall figures. This includes the paper, the substrates, any finishing equipment, any design, anything that is invoiced by the print supplier. I'm going to give you some numbers in value terms. Now, within Smithers, we use US dollars because I'm not really sure why, but we do. And what we do is we present data in constant value figures. It's 2021, so we're using constant value 2020 dollars. And what this does is it strips out impacts of exchange rate fluctuations, and it strips out impacts of inflation, allowing you to compare real market changes over time, but also, if we happen to do so, over different geographies. In this instance, we're looking at last year's exchange rate for the rupee, 70.2 rupees to the dollar. 1 rupee is 1.4 US cents. I'm not looking at any home or office printing, purely print for profit, or if it's done by an implant, print for use. When we talk about volumes of print, we express those in equivalent A4 prints, in billion prints or trillion, depending on which the market is. So those are the numbers. These strip out impacts of inflation, which I think is going to be an issue going forward over the next few years as we come out of the pandemic. And this looks at the world market for sheet-fed litho, the blue bar, and electrophotography, the orange bar. So I'm talking about toner printing. I'm doing this webinar in conjunction with HP Indigo. Indigo is one of the market leaders in electrophotographic printing with their liquid toner technology. As well as that, there are powder toners and alternative vendors. And if we look at the size of the market, the interesting thing to look at, I think that's important to realize, is the size of the sheet-fed litho dwarfs digital printing by value terms, and particularly in print volume terms. So if you look at the left-hand graph, this is the value of print. And you can see that in 2021, after a dip last year, we see sheet-fed markets, and sheet-fed is widely used in commercial print, but it's also used in packaging and labels. You have approximately $172 billion worth of output from sheet fed, and you have a little north of $55 billion worth of toner printing. Toner printing value is about a third of sheet fed. But if you look at the volume, you find that we're approaching 7 trillion A4, 7,000 billion A4 prints in 2021. Digital is less than 10% of that. So whereas the value of digital toner printing is approximately a third of the value of sheet fed, the volume is less than 10%. And it's this added value that you can get with digital printing is a thing that I think printing companies need to get their heads around and understand, because you can profit from it. If we look at growth rates, and these are for the overall global electrophotographic, all electrophotography, not just commercial print, and all sheet fed, again, not just commercial print. The blue bar is what happened in 2020, the difference between 2020 and 2019. And you'll see that we think that the overall electrophotographic market dropped by about 10%. The overall sheet fed market dropped by over 8% in volume and a little under 8% in value last year. But the interesting thing is the gray bar here. And those are the changes we see over the next 5 years. From this relatively low base, we've seen a bit of recovery in 2021. But you see the opportunity for electrophotographic photography in volume and value is going to be significantly ahead of sheet fed. And in sheet fed, much of that volume growth and value growth is going to be in packaging. It's going to be in cartons, it's going to be in labels, and it's going to be in metal decorating. So that's a view of the overall global market. If we look at India, now I'm an outsider. I'm based in the UK near London. But India has been a fascinating market to watch as it modernizes and as it benefits from the extraordinary economic transformation and a lot of the things that are happening in Indian society. And some of the printing industry remains very sort of stable and hasn't changed very much, and is as it has been for many, many years, using analog equipment with heavy involvement of labor. But at the same time, you're seeing some extraordinary new companies doing really interesting things, opening new opportunities, and you're seeing suppliers within India, as well as some of the market leaders such as HP, developing technologies that are useful in the overall market. But it's modernizing the industry. And when it modernizes, it gives a problem for many of the companies, but it gives major opportunities for them. We size it in 2021 as $23.6 billion US, the equivalent of nearly 1.5 trillion A4 prints. It's huge. It's the 5th largest country market globally in both value and volume. It's the 7th fastest growing between 2016 and 2026 for our forecasts in value terms, and the 8th fastest growing in volume terms. Some of the really fast growing markets are quite small on a country basis. But it's a significant market for the size of it, and it's growing. And this is why companies like HP are so focused on supporting the Indian industry as it changes, so they can hopefully, from their perspectives, supply more equipment and sell more consumables. But it's going to help the industry as it changes over the next few years, as continuing the changes that have been happening over the past few years. And when we look at the commercial print sector, so excluding the packaging and some of the other applications, we see that the economic changes probably going to be the biggest driver. You're seeing a growing affluent consumer base. And the issue is, how do we best reach them? Do we use social media? Do we use electronic communications? Do we continue to develop the new sectors that many of the young people, the Gen Z, the millennials, who've grown up in a digital world, and you cannot separate them from their smartphones. They almost need to be surgically removed in some cases. It's how best can you reach these companies, these new consumers? And as you got more affluent consumers, I'll talk about the growing middle class, print is a fantastic medium to meet them, if you can do it in a sustainable way to meet the changing demographics. For the industry in the commercial print, the technology available is changing. You need to have the necessary skills. You need to have a look at the age profile of your workforce. Can you attract new, good people into your companies? If you're a family-owned company, do your children, are they interested in printing? Do they see it as having an opportunity for them to develop a career over the next 40 years of their life? How do you make it attractive to them? Do we have the necessary infrastructure to support printing in India? You're seeing significant supply chain disruptions, price increases, lead time extensions on paper, if you can get hold of paper, inks and plates changing all the time. Is it possible to have continuous power all the time to run modern equipment? Do you have sufficient data network transfers to allow people to send files to you, to support the growth of e-commerce in the print industry? Because your consumers are using e-commerce to buy other goods and services as part of their daily lives. And the retail markets are changing with more people in urban environments, market economies are moving. And as the industry and the country recovers from COVID, some of the things that have happened there will stick. And some of the habits and some of the things that we've learned to do, they're not going to go away when COVID has gone away. And we're seeing a lot of drivers that are forcing the print market to react accordingly. Now, when we look at the population of India, the interesting thing is the growing affluent middle class. Now, in 2020, along with the rest of the world, we saw a significant economic shock. But the forecasts, depending on whose forecast you choose, show recovery in 2021 and significant growth forecast over the next 5 to 10 years. Rising incomes for consumers. This is a whole new market for print, but it's not the traditional old market for print. These growing middle classes, and at the bottom you can see the forecasts in 2050. There are going to be more middle class people in India with significant income and disposable income. Major brands are focusing on the Indian subcontinent. Printing companies should be focusing on the Indian subcontinent. How do we sell their equipment? And the new middle classes are coming from everywhere. I spotted this from one of the consultancy companies looking at the Indian market, the growth of the lower middle class. Now, these are the industries that are supporting the new populations of middle class. And as they support, and they're people who work in them or own these businesses do that, these people are your customers that you need to be targeting. You need to be offering new services to help them build their businesses and hit their targets and meet their consumers. So there's lots of positive trends happening. You've got more affluent consumers with more money to spend. How does print get in and gain a share of that new market opportunity? Now, these are the values and volumes that we see at Smithers for the Indian market. We think that we're okay on the 2020 figures. 2021, I suspect the value, and it's the value on the left-hand side graph, may be a little higher because you're seeing significant increases in paper pricing coming through, in ink pricing coming through, in plate pricing, and a variety of things. And hopefully, as an industry, we've managed to pass some of that on to the consumers. So I suspect there may be a little up in the 2021 value numbers when we finalize it at the end of the year. But we see recovery going forward. We see a recovery in sheet-fed printing, which is the blue line. We see a recovery in electrophotography. Now, if you remember the global figure that I showed you, globally, electrophotography was about a third of the value of the market for sheet-fed. In India, it isn't. It's a lot lower than that. It's less than 20% of the value. And in the volume terms, it's much lower than in the rest of the world. So in terms of digitization of the output of the printing industry, India has a way to catch up. And I think it's starting to do that now, but that's what these figures are showing us. And when we do the forecasts for the future, you're seeing that here that our electrophotography volume and value is going to be ahead of sheet-fed litho. And as I said before, much of the sheet-fed is in packaging and labels, not commercial print. So when we look at the overall market, we see good opportunities, we think, in electrophotographic printing, because it meets the requirements of these new consumers, and importantly, the brands and companies that serve these new consumers in better ways than some of the traditional analog commercial printing operations. Now, when we look at electrophotography in India and generally, it's widely used in lots of applications beyond commercial printing. We are focusing on the high quality cut sheet, whether it be SRA3 or B2 sector in the commercial print. But you've also got a lot of mono electrophotography, a monotoner printing. It might be a multifunction printer that you use to do some short run work, or it might be, in some of the cases, for some of the transactional and direct mail and books, continuous toner printing. We see color in books, in general commercial, that we're going to be focusing on. We also see in advertising, the burgeoning photo book market, very attractive for electrophotography. Some security, but it's also being used in labels and packaging. Now, when Smithers look at it, we look at the high-end professional machinery. Over 75 pages a minute, prints per minute, in both powder and also the HP liquid technology. SRA3+, but also the newer B2 machines, which are opening new applications and changing the cost structure for variable printing on demand. And the table on the left-hand side shows the growth rates in electrophotography of all of the applications that Smithers tracks. And you'll see that some are declining, so business forms, unsurprisingly, falling. Books falling, but that's because a lot of the black and white electrophotography printing is moving into inkjet in some cases. Check printing is declining as the use of checks falls, but everything else is positive. And the key one to have a look at, I think, are these ones that I've colored in here. And this is what we include in the commercial side, that traditional commercial printing companies, they may print magazines, they may print some catalogs, they'll certainly do general commercial, marketing collateral, cards, calendars, a whole range of the jobbing print that we produce. And when you look at the growth rates here, in sheet-fed, yes, there's some recovery going forward. You've seen declines in the past 5 years, and you're seeing declines in the value and the volume. Whereas with electrophotography, yes, it dropped in 2020 with the impact of COVID, but it grew in the 5 years to 2020. And we see significant growth going forward. 14% in volume terms, more than 11.5% in value terms, compound annual growth rates, because it meets the requirements of companies trying to serve these new markets. And when we look at the commercial opportunity, the blue bars are value, the orange line is volume. Yeah, we saw a hiatus last year, a bit of a recovery in 2021, but going forward, significant opportunity in both value and print volume. So what are the trends that you have to meet? Well, I think we're now seeing everywhere in the world, sustainability is a key dynamic. As a printing company, what are you doing to make this world more sustainable, to support your children and their children and the future generations? Every business owner, wherever you are in the world, has to focus this. It's something we should be doing, but it's something that your business has to do because your customers will not allow you not to do it. And your customers are the new consumers. And the millennials, the Gen Z people, they have grown up with climate change. They see the problems of pollution. As an industry, we have to address those. You have to be less environmentally harmful than you were before. Your business won't survive. Your customers won't let your business survive if you don't change. We're currently seeing supply chain disruptions for paper, plates, and inks. And the figure here from Print Week in India earlier this month, one of the big ink companies announcing price hikes for packaging inks. Everybody else has been doing it. They put surcharges on paper. They're putting surcharges on plates. As a business, you're going to be under significant cost pressure. Maybe you can pass some of that on to your customer, but they, of course, will go and talk to other people, and the competition will grow because there's significant overcapacity. I think Shilan said 20%, 1 in 5 commercial print companies may close. That's probably slightly more bleak than we think, but you will certainly see mergers, acquisitions, liquidations going forward because the overall market is declining. And Sheetfed is doing okay, but Sheetfed competes with other processes as well. And you're seeing much price pressures. You're also seeing your customers demand faster delivery. They want more agility, no order quantity, no inventory in that market. Those demands are not going to go away. They're going to get worse. As a business, you have to prepare yourself to hit those demands and meet them. We're seeing now recovery in the photo book market, particularly led by the wonderful examples I see from the Indian weddings as lockdowns finish and we go back to hopefully more normal times. That's recovering well, we think. Well served by electrophotography, of course, and the very, very high quality demands well served by the Indigo technology. But this emerging trends of how you service high net worth individuals. How can you get the offers from financing companies? How can you get the offers to them? And digital print falls very well in that to produce a premium product, tailored and targeted and versioned for individuals. And you're seeing premiumization. These people expect premium in everything that they do, and print has to fit in with that. So as a printing company, what should you do? What is the best solution to change my business for the future? Now, you don't have to change. There's always risk when you buy equipment and you do change, and there's the issues of managing your company that you have to do. But if you don't change, you're just going to get more of the same. And if you think of the business now compared to what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I think the pressures on you have increased. Your customers want to pay less. Their volumes have declined. They won't necessarily pay premiums. They want it faster. As a company, you need to look for high value added opportunities and niches. Can you make money on a job of 100 sheets or a job of 1 sheet? I suspect with offset, you probably can't. Are you looking at new routes to market? Now, this isn't huge yet in the Indian market, but it's growing because your consumers are used to buying things from Amazon and e-commerce, because we did it in the last year with COVID and lockdowns. Your customers and print buyers are used to doing that, and they are going to move into e-commerce. And as an organization, you need to be e-commerce enabled. You need to develop your workflow. Exactly the same is going to happen in India. It may be behind what's happened in Europe and in China and in North America, but it will come. You're seeing the technology developments. And now you've seen the high performance B2 digital presses, the Indigo 1000K that you'll see in a moment, and the 15K, very well accepted in Europe, very well accepted in North America. There are opportunities for printing companies to use this technology to develop new services and new routes to market, and look at the workflow automation. Take out unnecessary time. Yes, you take out the cost, but it's the time. As soon as I've got a job ready for a print-ready file, I want it printed now. And you're seeing in Europe 4-hour deliveries, because Amazon is doing this as a matter of routine in many of the cities. The time pressure is going to grow, and you don't necessarily have the time to do it through analog with the necessary finishing. Look at changing your business to speed your time to market. Now, we think in India, the overall market is continuing to move from analog to digital. This is not just electrophotography. This is including inkjet. The chart shows the value. And by 2026, so in 5 years' time, well over a fifth of all print and packaging, we think, is going to be digitally printed in India. There'll be a lot less of that in terms of the volume, but it's the added value that we're looking at. And the way to get into that, we think, is looking at the high quality, the cyan, magenta, yellow, the 4-color, yeah, but more colors. Look at embellishments, look at metallics, providing targeted version products, variable data, changing the content for the location. It might be versioning for a different store in a different location, or personalized to some of these high net worth individuals. Look at ways that you can communicate directly with them that is better than email, better than social media, better than that. It's more relevant to them. You're going to see low print runs. You're not going to print a high volume and deliver that, and hopefully your customer will use it. They'll be printing on demand. You will not waste so much in the print production methods, but also in the print supply chain. And you're going to do fast turnaround, on-demand capability. Next day, same day in 2026. Can you do that with your existing equipment? So to conclude, and hopefully I haven't gone over my time, we see over the next few years, the Indian printing markets are going to change. More affluent consumers, the end users of print, how do you address their requirements? They have major environmental concerns, you have to have them. Your customers need to meet their demands. They will want faster response, less cash, less stock tied up in inventory. More agile suppliers who are more easy to deal with. You're going to see new routes to market, particularly web to print. Your business model is going to change. You're not all about high volume and low unit cost. It's adding value to the customer. Look at the range of products, look at the range of services. Do more for your customers. And we see there's a big opportunity for digital printing because analog volumes overall are going to fall and price pressure is going to increase on the remaining capacity in that market. And I think if you can get in and be part of this continuing analog to digital transformation, you have an opportunity to build profitable, sustainable businesses going forward. So thank you very much for listening to me. I'm going to be here for the rest of the thing. Very happy to answer any questions, very happy to connect and see if you can help me. So with that, I will stop my sharing and pass you back to Sriram. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Lots of data points and takeaway, I must say. One thing that struck me is what you said about sustainability. My question is there a green gap between what our industries talk about? I mean, and the rest of the society, of course. For example, our industry uses terms like green and circular economy, but it means different things to different members of the stakeholders. I guess we should look at how we can start talking a common language. Maybe we keep this for the Q&A session later, Sean.
Yes, you only gave me half an hour. As soon as the sustainability, I think you will see real scientific measurement and debate rather than greenwash. Seeing what the real impact of electronic communications is, electronic waste. What happens to your old iPhone, your old monitor? And print has a great story to tell, but consumers don't understand it. But yes, but as an industry, we need to not just pay lip service to it, but really grab hold of it. Otherwise, we will suffer.
Got it. Thank you so much again, Sean. I'm sure the attendees are also thinking about the data points that you have presented and look at what they might use for their future strategy and growth. I now invite Ashok Pava to give us a more Indian perspective to all this information and also talk about the challenges that commercial printers in India are facing. Ashok?
Thank you so much, Sriram, and thank you so much, Dr. Sean. I will just share my screen and just confirm if it is visible to you. Yeah, Sriram, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Thanks for the confirmation. Thank you so much, Dr. Sean. You actually put a full stop to the discussions and debates we as a technology supplier, digital print supplier, actually do on a day-to-day basis with, everyone, whether it is brand or it is printing community or it's a printer, we always say the word is changing. It is changing towards the digital, but we never had an estimation numbers along with it. And this 21.6% of the print market will turns to digital. I think today, it's an awakening call for many of the printers who is a part of this webinar. But I actually see it from a different perspective. I see it as an opportunity. And how do I see it as an opportunity? This $1.2 billion digital opportunity, which is coming onto the way for next 5 years to us, it's in Indian rupees, 9,000 crore. And I see not everybody will actually jump into digital, but there are few good enterprising commercial printers who would love to encash this opportunity. And if I assume that, there are 100 printers who will jump into to encash this opportunity and they just get 50% of this opportunity, which means 4,500 crore divided by 100 printers who are going to invest into digital, we are talking about 45 crore of an annual revenue adding to their top line. And this is the most profitable revenue. There is a good bottom line and there is a top line. Yes, guys, we are talking about 45 crore of an annual revenue opportunity which lies with you in this tough time. Yes, we are growing. But and I'll give you a real story. I had this discussion with one of my printer friend who owns a decent setup, large to medium size of a setup with 4-color presses and a good bindery. And when I was talking the simpler lines onto him, and he said, Ashok, my story is very different. I'm not into digital today, so I don't know about this digital at all. And second is, my part of narration is very different. We are struggling. You don't know our story. You are telling some different story. We are struggling in a big way. Pre-COVID, as yes, we were doing good volume, but there was a lot of a price pressure. And definitely there was a short run. I actually managed my short run. I put one of my oldest press to actually run short runs because this helps me to sustain my big check items onto my offset. And then what happened is COVID stuck and I lost that big check item. I lost that big volumes of an offset. What I was getting is, short run, short run, and short run. And I seriously went into a cash flows issues. Not only a cash flows issues, I entered into something which is a manpower issues. I could not retain my people. People today is difficult to retain because there are other opportunities which has come to them. And now today, after 18 months, when we see a bit of a recovery in demand, I am stuck with this. My offset prices is going up dramatically. I don't know what happened, right? My paper prices have gone up by 15 to 25%. My ink prices have gone up by 15 to 20%. My plate prices have gone up to 30%. And on the other side, I have a labor problem. My labor has not come back. And whosoever is come back, they're asking for 1.5x, 2x. And then government wants me to operate my printing facility with a social distance in place, which increase my operations time. I'm running 3 shifts in terms of for 2 shifts. Now I am in this problem, Ashok. What do I do? You suggest what do I do? And then we said, okay, sir, what we can do is let's sit down with a piece of a paper, a white paper, and see what is profitable and what is not profitable, and how do we make your business more profitable? Not only profitable, a sustainable profitable with and without growth. So what we did is we actually did a calculation of a real job basket analysis with the prices that we are charging to the market. And we say there are few action points that we need to take. If I have to sustain in my current business, the first and the foremost, I need to eliminate the loss-making jobs. The short runs that we are doing on my press today, we have to eliminate it completely. We have to say no to it because more I print is more I lose, and I don't want to make losses. I focus on a growing market. Dr. Sean has said the volume of sheet fed offset is still growing. I have to focus on that medium to long run of an offset market, which has become a commodity. Now, if I have to cater a commodity, I have to be competitive, which means I have to increase my efficiencies and productivity of my shop floor and every business operation that I run. This is how I can sustain my current setup. But if I have to grow, I have to diversify. I have to put my money into new investment. And what is the nearest possible investment is of course packaging. But is it a new investment in a new market? No, it's an already established investment. There are established player in this market. The market is going to be very competitive, and it requires, if you want to fight with, top 10, top 15 folding carton converters in the country, you need to invest a lot of capex and opex. This is an option, guys. This is an option which is available with you as a printer today. But do we have any other option? Yes, I said we have one more option. Why don't we cater? Why don't we tap to the growing market, that 9,000 crore market, which is coming up in the form of a digital? We are not looking at that market at all. So what do I do? The second option is I increase my profit, not only sustain, I increase my profit with a hybrid service setup, which is offset and a digital setup. By doing that, what I do is I convert most of my short runs into from a loss making to a profitable ones. Not only that, now that it is a profitable, I grow that market to the next level because there are not much player. Short run is a pain for the most of the printer, and I'm happy to do it because I have a facility to do it. I add new revenues by catching up the market trends that we have, which is premiumization, versioning, customization, and variable. And of course, I diversify, but I diversify into new customer, new market where there are not of much players working, which is photo, promotional packaging, and security. And the most important part, I do it without any additional investment. One single digital facility can actually help me to cater to different markets. And that sounds interesting. If this is the case, I think your time is now. It is the time for the printers today to decide which way they want to go. And if you are thinking of a digital, let me tell you, this is not a digital that we are talking about as a proofing machine. If you want digital setup, this digital setup has to support your 40 crores, 20 crores, 30 crores of our standalone digital revenues or profitable revenues. So what do you need when it comes to digital? Of course, the first thing that we need is a productivity. The press has to be, or a facility has to be as productive as your offset press. It should run at 4,000, 5,000 sheets an hour. It should be a B2 size, a seamless integration of digital into your shop floor today without changing any processes, without changing any operations. It should be able to print onto many application, any media with many inks. This is where I make money. And of course, it has to be current integration that can done with my workflows, which means it has to have a workflow which can integrate with my current print environment, not only my current print requirement, actually my future print requirement. Not only this, it has to be sustainable. Dr. Sean has said, sustainable is the key to go. And the sustainability in printing for me is, print responsibly. Not only print responsibly, we have to have a press which is carbon neutral. This is where I can become a part of an ethical supply chain of my brands today. And believe me, out of all this, the most important that I'm going to talk about is the productivity today. When we talk about digital, we don't see productivity, but let me assure you the productivity on a digital today. Let me take a real-time example, the study that we have done on a one-day job production data of a one particular shop floor. These are 21 jobs which a normal commercial printer actually do on a one-day basis, which is 3 jobs of posters, 3 jobs of flyers, 3 jobs of brochures, calendars, flyers, catalogs. And what we did is we actually did the same job on an offset press, on a B2 offset press, and we printed the same job on a B2 Indigo press. And that's where the result is. Same 21 jobs, if you do on an offset, it will take you more than 40 hours to complete that job. And if I do it on digital, I do it in less than 12 hours. Yes, this is the speed to market. This is the time to market. Not only time, I'm talking about 2% of a wastage of a paper. Paper is a gold today. I have to pay advance for a paper. 2% of a paper on an Indigo against a huge double-digit number of a wastage. We can debate about this number of 43. We have this number with us, which is 43%. And then we are talking about the efficiencies, which is very, very, very high as compared to offset. And I know when I look at the screen, people are not trusting me on this data. So let me actually take you to my shop floor, my center of an excellence in Singapore, and show you how this is possible. This productivity with flexibility is possible. Over to you, Shim.
Thank you, Ashok. Okay, my name is Shim. Actually, today, as you heard from the Dr. Sean and the Ashok, you heard about digital opportunity. So today I will quick introduce our 12,000 B2 format, how is it suitable for this kind of market, and then also we are showing the actual demo. So let me show to the one slide quickly. So this our HP Indigo 12,000 is most capable digital B2 press because I want to talking about two things. One is high productivity. This high productivity is not only speed, as I mentioned in the slide. Also, our HP Indigo 12,000, actually, we have a lot of AI-driven production efficiency feature inside. One shot and the AAA and optimize, etc., etc. So that is reason, not only speed itself, also using our AI technology, actually, we can increase our efficiency as well. The other thing is the high quality. So high quality meaning actually using our HD imaging technology, we can cross the offset quality. Also, we have different type of electronic ink. As you heard from the Dr. Sean, the beyond the CMYK. So that is the reason we have a lot of different type special ink. Later on, we will show it to you. Also, when you're talking about new application, new segment case, also we have to talking about new application. This one is also related to the broad range of media, what you can print out. Also during my demo, also later on, I'll show to you. So this is a short slide, what I want to share with you, what is the 12,000. No further delay, I will introduce our 12,000. So let me hand over to the Benjamin. Benjamin will go through from our PIDA part. Benjamin, are you in there?
Hi everyone. Thank you, Shim. So today I'm going to show you how easy it is to load paper into our 12,000 pallet feeder. Okay. So first, let me push in the pallet So unlike in offset presses, for this Indigo press, we don't have to really take particular attention onto whether the pillar is biased to the left or the right. Okay, and next, with just a touch of the button, okay, the palette itself will automatically align and goes online. Simple as that. Okay, so the paper I've installed today is a C1S paper board from our sponsor Metzer board. Okay, it has is a maximum size paper, 75 by 53 centimeters. Okay, and thickest range, we have the thickest paper here is at 600 micron. Okay, so there you have it. It's online and it takes less than a minute. Fast.
Wow,
and
great.
quick. Yes.
Great. This is one of the good things. It's very, very big capability, but just as you can see, very automatically you can do. So now I'm moving on our print engine, quickly explain about what is our printing process. It's very similar with the offset technology. Here is our writing head. Actually, we capture the image from our DFP and then making the image our PIP. PIP is exactly same as plate, what we are using in offset. And then when images come here, we have all the 7 different ink beads. We are engaged ink from the 7 different beads and then transfer to ink to the pit. And then that image actually transfer to the blanket. This blanket is the same feature as offset. After that, when paper is coming, we directly transfer to image. So this is exactly same process as offset. That is the reason why we call our press is a thermal offset technology. Also, as you can see, our press itself length is around 8 meters, and then height is around 2.4 meters, and the width is around 4.7 meters. It's very huge press, and then our flagship model of the P2 press in worldwide. Okay, so this is our press. So now I hand over to the Benjamin once again. Benjamin will introduce and then learn the actual job. Benjamin, are you in there?
Yes. Hi everyone, I'm back again. So the first job I'm going to print here, you can see is a publishing book. Okay. So I'm going to print it using the EPM mode. Okay. So basically, this is a 192 pp or pages book. Because due to time constraint, I'm not going to print the whole book. But you can see that we have 4 up. Okay, it can be
Benjamin, can you stop for a minute? I think the focus is not on you, so a lot of people in the chat are saying no video. Can we put the spotlight on Benjamin's camera, or alternatively just click on the HP Indigo presenter so people could see? In the chat, it's saying no video.
No video?
No video?
Yeah, I can see you guys. But it's I think
now it's working. I think Gaurav, we have a confirmation that it's working now.
Okay, great. All right,
okay.
thanks. Sorry, Benjamin, continue.
Okay. So right now we are printing.
Sorry, Benjamin, just a second. Can someone put the focus on the specific, user HP Indigo 12,000 HT digital press? That is the, panelist who needs to be highlighted. Team? Sorry, Benjamin, just give us a minute.
Hello, can Mr. Sean and Mr. Gaurav shut off their videos so that we can bring the Dan and Benjamin's videos in gallery mode? Mr. Sean, can you please just put your video off? Yes, Naveen, put in gallery mode now.
Okay, now it's okay?
Yes,
we are good, Benjamin.
Yeah.
Good. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Okay. So I think apparently we have finished this.
Yeah,
the
already
book.
finished.
Okay. So basically, this is a 4 up on a maximum size paper. So we're going to print it on the EPM, or actually we have printed it on EPM. And in the 10 hours production, we can produce 950 books on 192 pages.
So the Benjamin, why you are stuck like this? What is this? Can you explain?
So basically, in a 10 hours production shift, okay, we are able to produce 3 pallets of this size. Okay, what we have here is only 1/3 Okay, showing 1/3 of it.
So that means that actually we print a lot per day.
Yes.
That means let's say 10-hour working time. So that means, as you said, around over the 900 book we can make it. Just
Yes,
one day.
950
Wow,
books.
it's
Yes.
amazing, amazing. Good.
Productivity,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, so that is the reason why we are talking about productivity P2, because we have the EPM mode. So that is the reason, as you can see, if we are talking about around 200 page book, if we are print out per day, actually we can make a book more than 900, as you said. Actually, this is 1/3. Actually, we can stack this kind of height. Actually, this is around 85 centimeters height. Actually, we need to do 2 more pallet. This is physically, you can see how we can print out and stack it. It's lovely and then really good productivity. Okay, so what is the next? What you are showed to us, second application, Benjamin?
Okay, the next one is a coffee table book, or to be a fashion magazines. Okay, so basically, it's a high quality book. Okay, we are using 6 colors. Okay, it can be LCLM or even the vivid pinks and the vivid greens. Okay, it's a 104 pages book, 6 up in post. Okay, so on a 10-hour shift, we can produce 1,300 books on this.
Wow, so that means now just before you are talking about just color book using the EPM, but now immediately we can print out this kind of high quality, the copy table book or fashion catalog or fashion magazine or this kind of high quality color intensive job we can print out. But not only for color, also we can print out beyond CMYK. Wow, so and then as you say, how many books we can make it?
1,300.
1,300. That means
for 10 hours. Yes.
That means that maybe we are a digital press, so there is an app to print out this kind of high color intensive application without any drying time. We can go through the finishing and then make it immediately.
Yes, actually you can see once it's printed, it's dry.
Wow, so that is the reason why we can make the high the capacity of the book in per day. Wonderful, amazing. So this is what you are talking about productivity. As I mentioned, not only the speed wise, also we don't need to do this kind of dry time. So it's really good for benefit for our customer who immediately make a book. Okay, so what is next? And also, can you show to some general GCP application? Also, I see the general GCP application also is around 15% increase coming the 5 years. So such as brochure, catalog, and the calendar. What kind of thing you can do?
So the next job is a GCP. So I'm going to print on some book jackets. You can see here. Okay, so flyers, even posters with our special spot ink or fluorescent pink ink. Okay.
Wow. So that means now we are printing out this kind of general GCP application, as you said, just book cover also can. Wow, what is this? Wow,
so
amazing.
You can see, yes, you can see that.
Maybe this one, right? Oh.
Okay. It's the same. Yes. So this is on a metallized paper, okay, using CMYK and with white ink as the background. Okay.
Okay. So also now you just showed to me a lot of different the color we print out. Also, I want to show to some more, not only the metallized the media.
Yes.
Actually, our digital prints can print out this kind of the canvas as well, right? Also, what is this? Also very interesting.
Yes, this is something very interesting. Okay, so we are printing on a transparent material. Okay, but it's only printed on one side. But you can see that both sides, the image are different. Okay, we call this sandwich printing. It's printing the 4 colors first, then in between adding the white layers, then the other image, another 4 colors. Okay, creating a different image on both sides.
How about the different color board? For example, I want to print out dark media. I want to print out some color board. Is it possible to print out our 12,000?
Yes, we have the dark media. Okay, using our premium ink, white ink. Okay.
Wow. Also, we have also the very special color as well, right?
Correct. The fluorescent pink.
So they mean when we are talking about general GCP, exactly what the Ashok mentioned, we have to print out, short number more profitable application. So through this kind of our new capability, we can make it as like this premium white, using the dark board, and then fluorescent pink or the special ink. Really amazing. Okay, so now we are quickly cover about the GCP application is how we can do. But as you mentioned, now we have to also consider about niche market, niche application. What kind of thing we can do beyond GCP? Can you explain?
Next I'm going to show you is the promotional gift box. Okay, so this is printing on our 600 micron paper boards that I just now pushing into the pellet feeder. Okay. So before that, you can see that I printed on some metallized and also on now it's running on the 600 micron.
So that means that just now I saw this kind of metallized, the promotional gift box. This is really good, but looks like we are print out in the metallized media, and then also we are using the special ink, right? And then what is this? Also, it's very nice.
Yes. So we can also print on craft paper.
So they mean using this kind of craft paper and then using our premium white and then actual output, how we are making this kind of promotional gift box as well. Wow. So they mean this kind of thing usually, as my understanding, the gift box or promotional packaging application, actually they are using the very thick paper. So do you have any sample, the 600 micron thickness? Okay, cool. So this is one of the application.
Yes.
Using the 600 micron board.
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me show you once again this metallized application. As you can see, actually our 12,000 can print out metallized the media. Also, we are using the special color, so-called premium white. And then also this is another special color we can also add one. Also, as you can see, another key market, rising market is the security. Also, our 12,000, we have the invisible ink, and you can add on that kind of security feature inside as well. Also, using our solution partner Jura solution, also we can do security feature as well, right? Okay, so this one, yep. So this is now looks like we almost total 10 different applications we print out. As you can see, using our EPM technology, we print out the book. And then also we showed the high color coverage or high quality copy table book, fashion magazine, fashion cover, or the catalog, this kind of thing. Also, we showed the GCP, but not only general GCP. We add on the special ink and then using the special media. After that, also, you just quickly showed the cross segment opportunity, so-called promotional packaging. Wow, it's very short time. You print out 10 different applications and then without any stopping. Wow, it's amazing. But I want to hand over, before I hand over to India team, also I want to invite SN, who will show to our fluorescent ink, very, very special application will introduced by SN. SN, are you in there in our dark room?
Yes. Can you see me? Hello.
Good, go ahead.
Okay, good. I want to show you a quick glance over the fluorescent room. That way you can see kinds of applications. First of all, I want to show you some mooncake boxes, as you see from here, right? Fluorescent pink printed. Instead of selling 4 pieces, today they are quite trendy to get young generation to go into 2 pieces of mooncake. And of course, in Australia, lipsticks for the sun protection. This is also printed on fluorescent yellow, which is a nice kind of spot box over it. And that's how we say that fluorescent colors can also do on gifting boxes like candle gifting, right? This is printed all the 4 fluorescent colors with green, yellow, orange, and pink, and include the silver ink. This is done on the 7K. Of course, on the 12K, we can done fluorescent pink on it also. So beside these fluorescent colors printed job on packaging, if you look at magazines, right, books, that you can see that this is also printed on fluorescent that excite the kids to read in the dark under fluorescent lights, right? So that is wilding, give them a better storyline on it. And I want to show you also a design book, a design student catalogs, right? Which they printed with fluorescent colors inside with all the lines and everything, fluorescent orange and pink on it. It's a nice book. There's a graduation book that they do that. And today with calendars, right? That's how Jim talked about some of the calendars, which also done on fluorescent colors that we have it. And of course, magazine covers. You want your magazine to pop up from the shelf, right? That definitely you can print a fluorescent color. And this is also using collage, that every page is different. are printed on it. You can see that. And T-shirt, what not forgetting about T-shirt, that's how you saw over here on T-shirt. We can print on heat transfer, right? Transfer over T-shirt, you have a campaign, you have some events, you can do that and transfer over T-shirts. And you can see that some of the T-shirts are printed with fluorescent colors that glows almost in the dark, right? So I want to hand over back to Ashok. I think we're showing quite a lot of samples here. Beside over this part, maybe you can see some of the posters on the wall. This is also printed on the fluorescent pink, yellow, green, and orange. I'm going to hand over back to Ashok.
Sure. Thank you so much, Edson, and beautiful experience that we had for the exciting market, which is ahead of us. Thank you, Shim. Thank you, Edson, and the team. And Shriram, over to you.
Thank you, Ashok. I think there was a lot again for us to see and experience overall, and not to forget your download of data. So let me start. Maybe let's jump into a few questions, Ashok. What do you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. Please.
So I had a question specifically to the growing interest in AI and big data. How do you think that is going to translate in digital and specifically the commercial industry? Commercial printing industry.
Yeah, brilliant question, Shriram. Let me put a bit of a perspective what we shared just before. Dr. Shan has clearly mentioned that the growth is going to come from the affluent middle class consumer. All right, these are the guys who are becoming big and big and big, and they have a disposable income with them. Now, these are the guys who are actually buying online today. So there is a data which is available. Okay, when I say big data doesn't mean a lot of amount of data. We are talking about a validated data which a company has today about these consumers. And as these guys are actually buying online and shipping is done to their address, there is a data which is available with most of the brands today. It's not about Amazon and it's not about only the e-retail company. If you see today, many of the brands have gone online in last 18 months, and even if they don't get the big sales that they used to get, what they get is the most important element of their communication, which is the data of their customer. Now, the honesty lies on to me. How do I target that data? How do I analyze that data? How do I read that data and excite the consumer, which is my consumer, with a validated data with the new exciting print product? This is where the customization will come into picture, Shriram. This is where the new experiment of the medias, papers, inks, excitement of the application, excitement of data will be clubbed into one single product, which is a digital product targeted to this one particular consumer, and sent it to him for two things. One is for the experience, the luxury experience, which they definitely want in exchange of their loyalty. And second one, they continue to buy from the bigger brands, right? So this is where I see a lot of changes is going to happen now onwards when we are coming back. As we are not outside COVID, but now forward, I see a lot of data being utilized, targeting data being utilized by digital printers, and I see a rise of DM in India now onwards. Thank you, Shriram. Okay. I hope that answers to you.
Yes. So we were talking about e-commerce, and I have a specific question to Sean on the e-commerce part. So like we see that e-commerce is definitely a growing focus for all printers. Again, I'm going to quote Rahul, my colleague, who was studying the e-commerce business, and he says it has grown 16% year over year globally. And today it represents approximately 14% of total sales world over. What are the trends you're picking up from this corner of the world, Sean? And more importantly, what is the print technology that is driving e-commerce?
I think the growth in e-commerce for printing is predominantly allows printing companies to address individual consumers as a new market. So it's changing the relationship, if you want to, for business to business into business to consumer. In India, I think the adoption is a little lower than it is in some other areas. But one of the really fast-growing, interesting niches in Indian print is the photo book market, the wedding market. And here you are finding, you upload your pictures and the site will take you through designing the story of the wedding, but it may be the story of a holiday. You're seeing people now start getting Facebook timelines for your the last year or whatever you're doing, or in photo books for schools or athletics clubs or football teams or cricket teams, where you upload images, you can put text in there and create a hugely bespoke item that may be printed a run of one. It may be for your family or your guests at a wedding. It may be for your class at school or at college. And I think the technology, it is being used in traditional offset, where you're ganging jobs together. You're taking a lot of time and cost out of the print supply chain. So effectively, you are allowing the system to handle all of the administration. You are not relying on customer services representatives. You're letting your customers do more of the work. But one interesting thing about the e-commerce is exactly as Ashok said, is these brands know a lot about you. And if they can tailor the printed inserts inside the pack for your particular needs, because it knows that I am an Indian cricket supporter, so I will put well, I don't want to think too much about the Indian cricket team because you've given me a very bad summer, but about the information about what Mr. Kohli is doing, or what your mystery spinners and whatever in your pack, it's more interesting to you. You will look at it, you will interact with it, you will improve your engagement with that brand. It's doing new things for you as a consumer. It doesn't have to be personalized, but big data will know, you know, who likes Manchester United, who likes Liverpool, who likes Real Madrid or Chelsea, and will target the appropriate messages to the individual consumer. So instead of doing a big run of thousands, we do a much more focused run of hundreds, but within that hundreds, variations and varieties and versions to make it more appropriate, more targeted for me as an end user. So I will react with it. I don't like the Manchester United stuff. That will go into the bin, but I do like the whichever team happens to be my one of choice at the moment. Sorry.
Got it, Sean. I understand. Yes, we get what you say. I think Ramu has a question. Ramu? Ramu, are you available, or should I move on with my next question? So yes, I think Ramu is having a technical difficulty. So I'm going to put this to Ashok now. Ashok, I remember you saying that during your session that the 2% waste quotient of paper on the HP Indigo. That's interesting. But today, as you know, paper world has gone mad. In this context, will the cost structure suffer a significant and unsustainable hit, or the increase in paper price will have to be passed on? What is your thought on that?
Okay, so I know as a rational businessman, I'm not talking about digital per se, but if my input cost is going up and it is a direct cost, we should pass it on to the brands. And you know, it's not about us only. The challenges which our customers and the printers are going today, the same challenges our brands are also going today. They have the same problems which our printer has today. So it's not that the brand doesn't understand this. Brand does understand this. It's just that we have to take a courage and go to our brands and tell them, boss, you are facing the same challenge. I am facing the same challenge. So please let's share the cost of or a burden of a cost onto it. So that's one of the clear, honest strategy that I would love to do with the brands from a printer's perspective. Second thing, when it comes to digital also, Shriram, we don't waste 2% of the papers also. Sometime if you have a one single run of a paper and you do multiple applications on top of it, you can see different applications which is coming out on the paper. But definitely we save a lot of paper, and that's where it makes a lot of ROI sense for our printers to load balance their volumes today. Anything taking that cost of the waste paper into their offset, not only the waste paper, the time and the holistic total cost of an operations today, and comparing it with a digital facility, this load balancing will help the printers to earn much more. And believe me, paper is one of the bigger component into it. So definitely it will going, it is going to play a big role in both the ways, Shriram.
Yes. One more question to add on to that. Can you throw some light on how specialty paper grades for thermal, carbonless labels, and etc. work?
Yes. So we have a lot of yeah, please.
Yeah. No, go on. As
yes.
long as
So we are, we are targeting a lot of paper. As of now, we have close to around 3,500 certified medias with us, Shriram, today. And every day we are actually, working out with the suppliers of the media to test their paper with respect to the application on an HP Indigo. And the way it works is if the paper runs today, it's great. If the paper doesn't run today, you have a challenge with, any challenge with the paper, we work hand in hand with the media supplier. So we have, we have a media testing center in Singapore, in the other part of the world also, and we test their paper, and then we go with our recommendation to them. They make some changes on the surface or the chemistry, and we make those paper runnable, to an Indigo. So answer is, we have many papers which are running today, including the most of the, the environment friendly paper. Plus, if there are papers which are supposed to be run, please come back to us. We are happy to test those papers and work with the media vendors to, establish those applications.
Okay, got it. There is a specific question for you from Nitin Shah. I know you're talking about commercial printing, but Nitin wants to know what are the digital options for flexible packaging?
Yes.
And to add on, how much do you think a commercial printer needs to unlearn or relearn for flexible packaging?
Right. So the same technology which you see on a screen, which is 12,000, which is for a sheet fed, we have a same technology which is meant for the flexible packaging. This is a product called 25K. The print engine remain the same, chemistry remain the same, but we can actually have a roll-to-roll configuration, and the same technology print on various different medias, including the flexible packing and the laminates, right? And the way we do it is, it's a proprietary technology within HP, and we do cater to those market. In India, actually, we have, very recent developments which has happened in a flexible packaging market, where we have installed this 25K, two of the 25Ks in Bombay, one in Bombay, 120K in again in Bombay. And these are catering to the pouch market. It's an interesting market. Now, do I need to unlearn, learn, relearn about the technology? Answer is yes, because it's a new technology, and there is always a learning curve attached with it. But when it comes to the biggest learning that we need to see is, how do we approach to the market? How do we reach out to our target market with the right value proposition? This is the most important one. Your backup facility, your Indigo will definitely support your production, but reach out to your market with the right message, with the right value proposition is something that we have to learn. And we have to have a marketing team with those messages going out to the brands and educating brands about the options available, whether it's a commercial printing, it's a flexible packaging, or it's a folding carton, or it's a lami tube, right? There is always a similar learning of reaching out to existing target market with the right value proposition. This is most critical, for every business to success, Shriram.
Thanks, Ashok. I think there's one more question that I see. Shaman wants to know that Shulsan Shim, right? Shim mentioned that the HP Indigo 12,000 can print 1,300 books in a 10-hour shift. Is that right? 1,300 books, and with CMYK special colors. Can you verify this to us?
Okay, so as mentioned by Benjamin, actually, when we are print out the color book, actually we are using the EPM mode. EPM mode is only we are using the three color without K. So that means actually our speed we can increase up to the 4,600 per hour B2 size, and then the usually bookcase we can the last time you have or the 4 up, right? And then so if we are convert to this kind of thing, let's say when we print out 4 up with the EPM, and then we are make a 200 pages color book, it take during the 10 hour, we continue the printing and then immediately finishing. In that case, around 920 books we can make it. This is how we are make it. So, but if we are using the 4 color, the speed will be little bit changed. Our B2 size speed, if we are using the 4 color, 3,450 per hour. So that means the capacity is a little bit reduced, but usually EPM is good enough to print out this kind of color book. So this is how we are calculate, and then we are mentioned about around over the 900 book per day, we can make it through our 12,000.
Thank you, Shim. I think thanks for the clarification. That would have been useful to all of us.
Sure.
Let me also confirm if there are any other questions to the panel. I think there's one more for Sean, though. Sean, the print industry in India and parts of Europe is struggling with the pandemic. We all know that. There are supply chain issues, higher commodity prices, freight cost, and government policies, which has unfortunately led to a decrease in gross margins. What would be your message to the industry? Will we continue to experience such volatility and turbulence this fiscal year as these issues continue to persist? Or what do you think is the future?
I think we have been in unprecedented times. This has never happened before. Well, certainly not in our lifetimes. Government actions causing lockdowns have created significant supply chain disruptions. These are now playing out, but people, wherever they are trying to secure their supply chains. It is difficult to do that. At the same time, you're seeing many of the traditional supply bases change as many industrial and manufacturing facilities in China have been closed down because of their requirement for energy use and their pollution has caused disruptions. The paper industry has been under pressure for a long time. They've seen declining demand. Many of them are moving into board alternatives. We're out of balance, but I think that will play out. You've seen significant price rises for many commodities, aluminium, steel, chips, energy are in a very odd situation in 2021. But I think these are going to sort of play out. The interesting thing that has done is, from a business perspective, is we cannot just do the same thing. The unprecedented times means let's do some really different things. It might be partnering with people who are your competitors, but partner with specialty finishing companies, partner with delivery companies, partner with design companies and agencies, and do new things. You are not just putting ink onto paper and doing traditional finishing. Talk to your customers. How can I better serve you? That's an easy conversation to have. It doesn't have to be about, oh, the prices are going up, can you give me some more money for the same things? If the prices are going up, well, instead of giving you 5,000 on Monday next week, I'll give you 500 on Monday next week. I'll charge you only 10% of the overall value, and then we'll give you some more in 2 weeks' time. We'll manage your inventory. If that one doesn't work, we'll change it, and you're not going to be stuck with redundant stock. But you know, we are in unprecedented times, and from your business perspective, don't be hidebound by what you have been doing before. Do new things, do other things, innovate. Look and see what your customers want. Are the things that you could help them with that you don't normally do? And you're seeing some interesting things with commercial printing companies across the world. There are mergers, there are acquisitions. Some weak ones, I think, will fail. But you may take portions of their business and do it in a different way. And it's a great opportunity. Yes, it's a terrible thing. And the pandemic, the human costs are awful. But as a business, it gives us an opportunity to reinvent ourselves and think about the strategic route for your business going forward. Don't do the same things you did before that you're suffering from. You will suffer for them if you do that again. It's an opportunity to change.
Thank you, Sean. That sums it up quite well. So let me ask Ashok. Ashok, there's a question from Gyan Pramanik where he wants to know the future of commercial printing post-COVID. But I think you can sum it up and also share your closing remarks.
Absolutely, Shriram. Answering to the questions, what is the future of commercial printing post-COVID? I think we have a data which is already shared by Dr. Sean. There is a, I will just leave you with the thought that the 22%, approximately 22% by value of the market will become digital. And if you are not into it, right, you start thinking over it because the consumers have started asking it to their brands, and brands have come back to you and they need a solution from you, right? That's answer number one. Answer number two is, if I keep doing what I was doing earlier, I will be getting what I was getting earlier, which means status quo will not help today. So that's my answer. When it comes to the post-COVID era. Now, when it comes to summary of this session, I think I really thank Dr. Sean, the PrintWeek team, to give this opportunity to interact with many of the printers with encouraging questions. Two things which I want to close with. One is the offset commercial print market is growing. I still want you to go with this data. The offset commercial print market is going both in sheet fed as well as in digital, right? The growth in digital is much higher as compared to the sheet fed conventional, and the value which it has is much larger in terms of the profitability that can contribute to your bottom line. So with this two facts, please think over it and revamp your print strategy for next 5 years with the help of this data. Thank you so much, Shriram. Thank you, Dr. Sean. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We've come to the end of this webinar.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.